Once I want to be in charge. Just once I want to be in charge.
Just be glad it's not a squirrel. Squirrels are much harder to explain. Just be glad.
Oh, I'm glad.
Hi, everybody. We're glad you're here. Welcome to the Thursday Night Live show. What are we calling this show now? Is it still the Dynamic Blue-O?
The Dynamic Blue-O.
Okay.
We don't change stuff in midstream. What are you thinking? I went blue. Just because you didn't, it's still the Blue-O.
I appreciate blue.
Once you go blue.
It's always true, isn't it?
That's not the saying I thought we were going to do.
No, I was trying to think of a good saying that would match with that, but I couldn't think of anything.
Once you go to blue, you don't go back. Once you go
no, but that
blue,
doesn't rhyme. It doesn't rhyme. It's got to rhyme with blue.
Okay.
Well, we got. This is too borderline green room here.
You're wrong, right? Okay. Oh, and you know what? That we're sitting here talking, and a week goes by. Week goes by fast for us too, everybody. But we didn't do some of the stuff. I didn't make that other graphic again. Still, we didn't set up the green room afterwards. Still. And what was the other thing? There's something else. But Teresa's on, Janelle's on, Scott's on, Peg's on. Peg said, hey, hello, hello, hello.
Hey, everybody.
Yay. So Peg and I spent a couple hours Monday night on all the send out card calls. You know, cool. What's awesome when you join another direct sales company? And I bet you guys didn't benefit from that in the insurance industry because not many people just do a bunch of them. Right. But in directs, well, they do. Okay.
Well, the way Aflac was structured at that time, you had a career field force that were career Aflac agents. And it wasn't that they couldn't do other things. Most of them didn't. Then you have brokers that would do all kinds of things. Now, Aflac pretty much looks at everybody as kind of like being a broker, I think. I'm not really involved, so I'm not going to be up on it completely. But it's not unusual now to see people doing a lot of multiple things.
Right. And it's like side hustles. Usually people have one bigger hustle like mine, and then a bunch of little side hustles like I do. And I think, where was I going with this discussion?
No. Totally off track.
Why it's awesome is because now with send out cards in particular, I've been to their events and stuff and learned stuff that I could use in other businesses, including that one. But on Monday nights, they have a call, and every Monday night for 30 minutes, their number one money earner does a training. You can get on, and he and what's funny is my core company, that couple is a couple. They don't share anything they do ever, so we don't ever hear from them. So to have access to a number one money earner is awesome.
And is that Jordan?
Jordan Adler does 30 minutes training, and his this week was awesome. I loved it. I did a bunch of screenshots. How his learning, taking the leap, setting the goal of learning how to fly a helicopter, because he does. And then at one point, he made a bad decision with somebody else, and the guy wrecked his helicopter with him in it, the two of them in it, and almost killed them both. And how he got past that, and he's flying now again. So that is much like when you have a business, and he boiled it down to 10 things, and he does this every week, and you have access free, and it's awesome. That's why I like going to their events and stuff. And it's always a different angle because you're in a different company. You know what I mean? So when you go to our events, I've been in so long, we often talk about the same stuff, and it's a lot of the same people. So to go to a totally different event is fun, and you really stretch your mind because you're learning something. They teach different. The people are different that are teaching, and the people in the audience are different. So it's worthwhile.
Success principles that you learn anywhere can be adapted to just about everything. That's I always talk about the fact that in January of 2000, a sales mentor gave me the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. John Maxwell and then Bob Berg's Endless Referrals. And it was taking that content and then saying, okay, what does it look like in my world? How do I make that same thing work in my world that does that? It's the same thing with what you're talking about. Any great sales training or any great training, whether it's about personal issues or whatever, it can easily be adapted to other venues. And so that's awesome. That's a great point you just made.
Yeah, I've gone to other people's stuff all along. My one of my friends was big into Prince's House when I lived in Charleston, South Carolina, and I used to go with her to the
Mhm.
rallies and stuff. I dabbled in Prince's House a little bit, but I don't like doing parties. But it
Right.
was fun going, and I learned stuff. And I thought, well, wait a minute, I can I can use this stuff in my thing.
Absolutely.
And that was true in everything I've gone. I try to have friends, then I go to their stuff.
Mhm.
And it's the only sad part is some of them think they're going to recruit me, so they don't realize they'd be better to go to stuff, and they don't go to my stuff because they think they're going to get recruited. But that's not. You don't need to think that. You
Right.
can just go and absorb it and be on with your day. So
My years in direct sales back in the 80s, I would go to Charlotte, North Carolina a couple of times a year for big meetings that were up there. We'd have big meetings in Florida. We'd have all, and we would go. And they were at times, quite frankly, it was a stretch for me financially to do that because I was doing my job. I wasn't making a lot of money in the job, and I was trying to build the direct sales business. And it was a it was a challenge. But the things that I learned during all that, they're what made me successful later with Aflac. It's simply because I applied the exact same principles just in a new venue, and it was huge for me.
you know what Scott said? He knows. I don't know if I told you this yet, but that grow. I know I did tell you. Achieve
Hmm.
Systems in
Right.
Denver that I attended in February on my birthday. Um, they, I joined them as a member,
Hmm.
and they. What I liked about them, it's kind of like the Go Giver, but it's local,
Hmm.
but they're spreading out nationally. But their thing is to have all these business services that you can plug into. Them guys had the headshot lady there. That by itself was worth uh, me going to Denver for, believe it or not, because I love the
Absolutely.
headshot. I've used it a whole bunch of times now,
It's a
and
great picture.
I hadn't had one done in maybe 15 years. And it's not always, you got to find somebody who does that really. A
Right.
regular photographer, the headshots don't come out the same. It's got to be a business headshot person.
I probably should update mine because in my business headshot, my hair is a little more brown than it is now.
Yeah, so how old is yours? You can,
Someone said, "Hi, Lisa and Jeff." That says Facebook user have no idea who you are. Put your name there, but hi back. So,
Janet Leonard's on though.
hey, Janet, I
An
see Janet's
Easter
name.
Day. Scott had pictures done by that same lady, and he did two different shirts. I did the same outfit, just different way I'm facing and different
Mhm.
backgrounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember when I had that done because I was texting you
Mhm.
and go, "Is this better? Is this better? Is this
Right.
better? Is this
Right.
better?" Yeah, and yeah, Peg said, "And you two do this every week." Yeah, provide. I think she means provide teaching. I hope. I hope. Yeah,
we get up here and visit in front of our
we did.
friends, and they like it. It's good. We try to teach things too.
You like that in the announcement? Oh, so okay, so I don't know exactly when. I think it was different times, different stuff. But one of the first places I got a book that was not a novel was, believe it or not, I went to when I got divorced and went to Mississippi and then to South Carolina. When I went to the business school, not to learn anything because I needed the stipend for housing. I
Right.
actually went to college to get the stipend for housing. And it was a business college owned by George Shin. And he used to own the, I think it's North Carolina Hornets or something. But anyway, he owned some business colleges. He doesn't anymore, but he did back then. And you got the book in your orientation packet, and um, it was really akin to like See You at the Top with Zig Ziglar.
Mhm.
It was a really good book. I liked it so much that years later, when I was speaking, I sold in the back of the room. I bought boxes and boxes and sold them in the back of the room. And it was a nice little book. It was probably this size, and it was a $4.95. It was a really good book.
Right.
But that was one of the first times that I read something like that and really thought, wow, this is something different.
Mhm.
And when I was in South Carolina, not only did that book save me, because that was probably the worst uh, situation I had. My car was messed up, so I couldn't drive at night because the front was smashed up. But I had that job where I worked 11 to 7, so when I went over there, I had to drive over like in the dark and try not to get caught, right? And I didn't have electric, right? The apartment with no electric. Yeah, which, no electric is not tragic unless your bathroom's on the inside with no window and the water heater's electric. Then you're talking a pain, the pain
Right.
in the butt, because cold showers in the dark. Anyway, that whole
Hey,
experience.
Lisa, remember when I told you that said the lady with the blue hair would make a good book title? Cold Showers in the Dark would make a good
Cold
book title as
showers in
well.
the dark. Yeah, that was extra special that time in my life. Yeah, and oh, yeah, extra special. But anyway, the things that saved me and kept me going forward, and I would sit there and go, this is not what I was meant to do. I just have to get from here to where I'm meant to be. I convinced myself that it was not there, that I had all this ahead of me, but I knew I had to suffer through what that was. So it was between the books and music. And
Mhm.
what's funny? I had somebody, I don't even know where I got it, but it was a Church of Latter-day Saints cassette called Bounce Back. And if you haven't heard of it, it's on, it's on YouTube. Matter of fact, I'll put the link in the group. Now, I'm not a religious person, so it didn't have anything to do with that. But each little segment was like a go, you can make it, you can be yeah.
Right.
And I'll put it in the group, you can listen to it. And I wore one of them out. I listened to it every single day. It stopped me from driving my car off a cliff. And I think sometimes you just have to have stuff like that. And what made me think of it is I usually have like a theme song anthem, and I
Mhm.
won't share what mine is lately. Anyway,
Green
you
Room.
green. But back then, mine was Whitney Houston's "Greatest Love of All."
Mhm.
And the greatest love
Good
of
song.
all is you. And I
Right.
didn't know that was my theme song when I was working in the convenience store. And I heard that on the radio the other day and actually started crying, which, right. But
You
it all
cry now. You cry
right
now.
now I cry. I cry for everything. You know what? The frosting in the donut that the kid brought back from Dunkin' was a little too sweet the other day. I cried.
Mhm.
So,
Well, when I would work all day at the job that I had, started off with musical instruments, but then I went on into the uniform industry, but I was doing direct sales at night. I would work all day long. I would drive sometimes 3 hours or more from the Atlanta area to Montgomery, Alabama area to do meetings because I had a group there. And I would drive back. And then I'd get up and go to work again the next morning. So it was a really long day, but I would be driving down the road, listening to my soundtrack on a cassette tape, no doubt,
oh yeah.
of Top Gun. And I'd be driving down the road to Danger Zone. I'm into the danger zone. I would crank that up so loud it would help keep me awake. One time, it was in the wintertime, it was so late and so cold, I pulled into a rest area somewhere between Atlanta and Montgomery. And it was so cold, I kept the car running because I needed the heater. And so I pulled right in front of this light because nobody else was there. And I didn't, you don't want to be in a rest area by yourself. But I pulled right in front of this light pole, the light shining down on me, and I get a little rest. And I don't know how long I'd been out, but it wasn't that long. And all of a sudden, I realized I had fallen asleep. The car's still cranked and going. And I looked like this, and I'm right in front of that light pole.
Oh,
And
you thought you
I slammed my foot on my brake, and here I'm in park. I mean, it's not like I'm going. I almost broke the pedal. It scared me so bad.
Oh, yeah, that
So, what
would.
was your favorite books back then?
Oh, well, that one from George Shin, which is called The Miracle of Motivation, that just came to me. It's
Mhm.
hard to find though, so I don't know if you'll be able to get it, but if you want to look it up, that's the one it was. Some of my other early favorites are See at the Top, Zig Ziglar. This
Mhm.
is an early one. I'm trying to think. And for my sales team, I bought cards and lent them out. So that's why that's in there. But this one is from What year is this? 80, 1980 was the printing that this book came out. And I would have bought it at that time. And the other ones, there's a whole bunch from Og Mandino that I like. This isn't
Mandino
my favorite.
inspired me.
Yeah, the Og Mandino's my favorite of his though is The Greatest Salesman in the World. What's your favorite of his?
That would be the one that got me started loving business parables, which that's why I have such a feeling for them now.
Right. Yeah.
He also had one called I think it was called The Seventh Angel that
Yes. Yeah.
it was so good. I love stuff like that. My first, I guess I read Zig's book there. It would have been one of the first books that I got when I was in direct sales.
This particular one too. You read this one. Yeah,
that one, and then The Secrets of Closing the Sale. But he was speaking in Charlotte, North Carolina, at an event I was at, and of course they had all these books there. And so, and I was one of these guys. When I'm at an event like that, I'm going down front. It's like Baptist church and the roll. I mean, and the hymnal call at the end. I'm going down front. And Zig's on stage, and he gets down and he kneels and he does that thing he does. He looked right at me. He was talking to me. I'm just telling you.
I would have peed my pants.
Well, I didn't. But that, and then Brian Tracy's The Psychology of Selling. But probably I got a lot out of How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Oh, Dale Carnegie. That was Dale
Carnegie.
How about this one? This is one of mine too.
It's a good one. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I like this one too. And these are short, people. These are short ones.
Yeah.
But try some of these. Yeah.
After I had read a few of those, I then got into a little bit deeper, and I read. Now I'm drawing a complete blank. Napoleon Hill. Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
And that was more of a deeper dive into some things, and Claude Bristol's The Magic of Believing, stuff like that.
I like Les Brown too a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I like David Schwartz. I'm sure he's not alive anymore. He was a teacher in Atlanta at Emory University, but he was a great speaker and wrote some great books. But he had a book, The Magic of Thinking Big, had made a huge impact on me. And
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Somebody said, can you two post in the group the books you're talking about? Yes. Yeah. I know I've got some of them on a list, but we'll post some just separate ones too. Please finish your thought. I
the books like that, most of us, and I kind of wrote this into the storyline in The Unexpected Tour Guide, most of us would just devour the opportunity to be able to sit down with someone who's really good at what they're doing and just listen to the information, let them talk, absorb what they're talking about in any kind of business or sales arena. And that's the way we are. But sometimes people you're not going to get that opportunity, but they can always take 15 minutes every day and pull out the material that person wrote. And it's their thoughts. It would be the same as sitting in the room with them. Well, not exactly. It's a lot cheaper, but to getting the book and doing that, it is just huge. If any of you haven't gotten The Unexpected Tour Guide, if you get the audio book on that, you'll see me walk you through some things like that in the storyline. But it's just huge.
And you don't have to think that you're going to read the whole book, because when I fall off the reading wagon, what I start back with is a page. I read a page a day. If I get a page a day, I'm checking it off my little checklist. Right. And then pretty soon I'm interested enough that I'm reading more than a page a day. And then I'm reading a chapter a day. This is one of the ones you may not have seen because it's, I know you didn't know it when I talked to him, but The Greatest Network in the World, he actually gave us an endorsement for the Blue Hair book. And John Milton Fogg. This is one of the biggest selling books of all time in the network marketing industry. Well worth the read. Very, very good. And the guy that it's about is Russ Devan.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
I know. I didn't know that for years until lately. I thought that was,
You now get behind the scenes peeks at things.
I know.
You know people.
I'm still excited when someone knows who I am. I'm like, oh. Yeah. Okay. So, and this one, of course.
Right.
And did you know my name's in here? I would just I told Sue. She said, was something about, have I read this book? And I said, "Oh, yeah." And I read it before I joined the Go Giver Success Alliance. And I said, "Oh, yes. Not only have I read it, but my name's under the acknowledgments over here because I was a pre-reader. I knew him before he wrote it."
Yep.
So I'm very proud of that.
And that is a great book for people to start off on. If you're not a reader, start off on something that is just such a fun read anyway that you'll get something out of just the enjoyment of it, but it also makes you stick with it. That's like one of the best compliments we ever get on Blue Hair, is when someone tells either one of us, or I hear them on a show or whatever, they tell us that they couldn't put it down. That's that's exactly what we're going for.
Yeah, and
Right?
if you haven't read a lot since high school or something, like The Go-Giver and like Said Lady with the Blue Hair and like the Unexpected Tour Guide, those are good ones to start with because they're stories. So they're stories that teach you something. So you're not just diving into a business book, and it's hard to get used to that if you haven't done that since high school or something. I'm often surprised how many people aren't reading as adults.
Well,
I've read my whole life.
when I got out of college, I swore I would never read again.
Did you really? Did you really?
Well, one of the last little terms in college I did was when those mini summer terms where they squeeze an entire semester's worth of content into 4 weeks. And I made the mistake of taking English literature during that time. So you haven't lived until every night you're supposed to read 200 pages of Beowulf, And so I said, I wasn't going to do it. Then when I got into direct sales, thank God I had good mentors. Actually, even before that, my first job out of college when I was working in the musical instrument business, and Jack Amberson, who you know from us, he actually is the one who got me started reading. And he said, "Here's a book I want you to read." And I love Jack, so okay.
What are the ones he wanted you to read?
It was How I Raised Myself from Failure to Success in Selling. And it was by Frank Betcher. And Frank was in the insurance industry. I had no idea I would be in the insurance industry eventually. But the whole purpose of that book was to teach you how to understand the sales process, what you're trying to accomplish, but more importantly, how to understand it's a numbers game to a certain extent. And you're going to be making contacts and setting appointments and making presentations, et cetera. So it was a huge thing for me. And Jack, I think he even gave me the book, quite frankly. I don't think I had to go out and buy it. I think he actually gave it to me.
It's funny how, looking back, of course, things make sense that wouldn't have made sense back there. But so you're saying the book was about a guy and it was about the insurance industry, and you didn't know. I ran across lately, I saved some wild stuff, I guess, but I ran across a thank you note that my 5th grade teacher sent me because I gave her an Avon sachet for a present in 5th grade.
You were already the Avon lady. You and April Sprint started at about the same time.
It was funny. Somebody else in my high school class actually sold Avon. It wasn't me. I didn't sell Avon back then. I didn't even think about it. I didn't even buy that much from her.
Well,
it was funny.
For those of you in the audience, if you don't know April Sprint, you need to get to know her. Her last name is spelled SCHPRINTZ, if I remember correctly.
You'll recognize her book. You'll remember more. Magic Blue Rocks.
Magic Blue Rocks.
Yeah. So
and the audio version is awesome too, because it's April doing it. But she started selling Avon at like 12 years old, and she was kicking rear end and going to get recognized for awards, and they had no clue she was a kid.
She tells that story in the book, so you can get that. So what I'll do is I'll put up that we have a graphic of books. I think it's regular books that both of us came up with early on in this. I'll put the graphics back up, but I'll also put some individual posts with some of these other books that are even not on there, and links to get them if you want them. And also that one to the Bounce Back cassette, because I know that's like a Mormons of Latter-day Saints thing, but the songs themselves weren't. I think if you listen to it, you'll get it. But if you're in a bad place and you got something like that to hang on to, though, that makes a difference. It does to me. I don't know. I'm not sure I'd have made it without the music. That sounds stupid, but that was that important at that time.
Well, everybody as individuals, we all need to accept responsibility for our own motivation and things like that. The external motivation is always going to be temporary. It's like Zig Ziglar said, motivation is like bathing. Yes, it doesn't last. That's why we recommend you do it daily.
Yeah,
And so,
right.
but you got to kind of do that when you can find your own internal motivation that based on whatever it is that you really want out of life, and you get something that really connects with you there, then you'll still do the external motivation if you stay on your game, because we all still need to do that. It doesn't matter how many decades you've been doing what you're doing, you still need that. But it's those early books and tapes, cassette tapes. I cannot tell you how many hours I would wear them out. I had
Oh,
hours and
yeah, I
hours worth
did
of
too.
cassette tapes that I would listen to,
Yeah, in the
and I
car
would
when
give
I would
them
listen
out too.
to books
But
and stuff.
when I would recruit somebody new, I'd usually give them a book, like I give them The Magic of Thinking Big and a couple of cassette tapes to listen to. Then when I would follow up with them, I'd say, "Well, how'd you like the books and the tape?" And I would have the packet, there's a zipper pouch in my hand. How do you like the books and the tape? Oh, they were great. I loved them. Those were so motivational. And I'd look in there and they're still in the wrapper.
No.
And I said, "You think they're good like this? You ought to put them take the wrapper off and put them in your player." And I'd shake it like this. If you think they're good this way, wait till you put them in your car.
You know what I thought is funny though is, and this happens still, of course, they'll say, uh, what you tell me what the magic secret is to go from the trailer park to the big house and get all these things you want. You tell me what that is. And you tell them something like, I read a book every day, or you tell them one of the million little things that it is,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not one big thing. They either think you're lying or too much work, or I don't even know.
Right.
But reading is one of those million things that needs to happen, I think. I couldn't have gone from push start and the you go down the trailer park to sitting here talking with you, the 20-year legend, Jeff West.
I'm not direct sales legend Lisa Wilber. I'm not. I'm Jeff. Where is everyone West? I wonder if anybody's getting why I put that on there tonight.
I had somebody say, but you don't sound like you came from that kind of background. But that's because I had to hang around people that didn't sound like that for decades
Right.
and go places and be in situations. When we first went on the trips and stuff, I not that I'm appropriately dressed still, but I was way less appropriately dressed. I didn't know how to act. I didn't know how to use the silverware. I didn't know how to tip. All that stuff was a learned thing over years.
Right.
So yeah, I think there's a learning that has to happen, and books is part of it.
Well, I remember hearing Charlie Tremendous Jones speak one time, and I can't remember the name of his book, but I loved it. Oh, it's gone. Anyway, he was speaking and he said something from stage, and I don't know if it was original to him or something he had heard, but it's basically you're going to be the same person 5 years from now that you are today, with the exception of the books you read. At the time, he said tapes, but I'll say the recordings or podcasts that you listen to and the people you associate with. That was his thing. Because if we're every day, if we're reading something, if we're trying to absorb material, I don't listen to the radio anymore. I listen to podcasts that I want to
Yeah.
hear people. If you do that, and then you hang around with people like you've said before on our show that are you when you look at them, you see them as a level above where you are, and you want to hang out with them because you want to learn and absorb that. If you do that, you grow. You grow. And my friend Bill Ross, who was a sales mentor I had in the direct sales business, he said, "You're going to be the same person 5 years from now that you are today, with the exception of the books you read, the recordings you listen to, and the people you hang around with. So if you do nothing but read trashy books and hang around with jerks, 5 years from now, you will be a trashy jerk."
A trashy jerk.
The dog didn't like that. That's an editorial comment. Tell the dog to quit editorializing.
Chances are he's barking at nothing. Chances are.
I do that
Could
sometimes.
be the kid. I'm hoping for a donut maybe. Could be the kid getting off the shift.
How's the new job working out for him?
Oh no, the job's doing good.
That's
I don't know if
good.
you saw my whipped cream emergency earlier in the week. They thought they were
Oh,
doing me a favor. In this, and they gave me the pup cup with a big big cone top on it with the whipped cream, and the
Uh-huh.
dog had it all over
Oh, I
me.
did see that.
I did a reel. Oh, it was like, oh, how am I supposed to drive you? Oh, and it was just like a mess. But I
Janet
went down,
Lennon thinks you have a visitor.
or maybe visitors. Oh, that I was just talking to Janet earlier, like you did before. Green room, green
Green
room.
room. Hey, for the next 1, 2, maybe out of the next
On the
5 or
road
6 weeks, I'm
again.
going to
Yes,
be
you will.
traveling
You're on
almost
the
every
road
week.
again.
So I'll
Yeah.
probably be doing the show on my phone. It
Yeah.
worked out all right when I was traveling to Waco that time to see John, so maybe that'll be okay. But
Yeah.
if it looks different, I'm sorry. Hopefully it'll be okay.
It'll be all right. Matter of fact, we're coming up on the anniversary. So 2 weeks would be, we've done
Yeah.
this show for a year
Yeah.
and only missed, I think, 2, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
We
not
didn't.
bad. That's a nice little commitment there.
Well, someone once told me that you can be successful in,
Anything up in
but no, I'm doing the wrong one. You can't control everything, but you can control how consistent
consistent
you
you
are.
are.
The
The
it's
consistency
the
rule.
consistency rule.
Well, and I was saying this to you all along too, is we have a library of these. So anybody that just stumbled across us now that
Mhm.
wants to learn from these half hours that we put out, you can go all the way back to the beginning. They're on the YouTube channel. So
Right.
if you go Lisa Wilber, search for Lisa Wilber in the bar on YouTube, you'll find me that way for sure. In the bar. What?
Search for
I
Lisa
knew.
Wilber in the bar.
I knew you were going there, Mr. Green Room. I knew it. I
Well,
knew. I saw
and
that one
also
heading down the road.
there's something that we put out in the newer version of Said the Lady with the Blue Hair, because we can control it, uploading stuff from behind the scenes there. That people that are getting the book now are understanding. Those of you that bought the book before that, and if you're watching this and you didn't take advantage of this, there's a 7 video series that Lisa and I did. It feeds those videos that are short, like 6 or 7 minutes each, and it feeds that content out to you, so you can see some of the early interviews about the rules. And we pulled that from the show. But please take advantage of us on that. It's a free resource for you, and you can get it by going to jeffcwest.com/blue hair, if I remember the link correctly. And then you just sign up, and then it starts coming to you. So make sure you do that if you haven't already. But it's great content, and it's good things, and everything that comes out of the blue-haired mouth over there tends to be pretty darn good about
Oh,
teaching you how to do your
jeez.
business. Well, you are direct sales legend, Lisa. My
Yeah,
co-author that I'm working on with now is also a legend, and so I'm
yeah.
excited about. We're gonna be
I look I
revealing.
look better in the lacy bra.
Okay, but he and I are going to be revealing that inside. Uh,
Oh, blushometer,
yeah, I'm
blushometer.
trying to change the subject on you, but he and I are going to be releasing details about that. We've actually the covers almost ready. I'm having him tweak a couple of things there, but he and I'll be putting out information about that.
Oh, I love
And
that cover. I hope you go with the one that you showed me.
yeah, I'm tweaking it just a little bit, but that's the cover.
I can't wait
Um,
till y'all see it. It's really good, and you're gonna love
yeah,
the story. The story is really good.
it,
Love
it,
that.
I love the setting. It's set for those of you, if you don't know, that the current book is actually called Streetwise to Saleswise. And it's set in the city of New Orleans, which I'm going to in a couple of weeks. I'm calling it research, but I'm going to it again in a couple
No
of weeks.
doubt.
Yeah, but and there were things that I saw there that just really inspired me. So when I started working on this parable with my co-author, that was still in my mind, and so it's been pretty fun. And the cover really kind of gives it the New Orleans flair. And
Yeah.
no, nothing to do with Mardi Gras and beads. All right, no, Lisa, no. But
Yeah, y'all can if you don't know you get the biggest beads, what you get the biggest beads for at Mardi Gras, or Google search that.
I did not write that into the storyline.
I
But
begged him to. I begged him to, people.
my next co-author that he and I have already agreed to is a very big name in the financial services industry, and he's a really nice guy that I'm enjoying getting to know. But I don't believe I'll be able to call him direct sales legend either. So I'm just you're my only direct sales legend. so far. Then if that changes, you'll be my first direct sales.
Yeah, green room.
We got
Okay,
to get out of
so
here. So.
yeah, the only thing, I wanted to wrap up with the offer too is that the challenge, the 10 card challenge, is still valid. That is still valid. If you'd like to do that, it's 10 cards sent out over 20 days for $20, and the $20 includes the postage on those 10
You can't
cards.
beat that.
No, it's
you
awesome.
can't even buy cards for that money.
No. So it's bluehairedcardsender.com. Blue-haired card sender. Haired, Haired. Bluehairedcardsender.com. Right.
But I can spell that out because I'm from a rural area in North Georgia. That's why you
haired.
did that.
Yeah. Is that even the real way to say that? Haired. Blue-haired.
Blue-haired.
Okay. But I'll put that in the group too, because I think that's a heck of a deal. Oh, Peg put it. Thank you. Bluehairedcardsender.com. I bet she
Peg's amazing.
She is. Yeah. She's a follow-up queen. I've been watching her do network and follow-up, and I'm embarrassed because she's very, very good at it. Way better than me. So, but anyway, yes, thank you very much, everybody. And if you have any ideas how I can embarrass Jeff more next week, you could message them to me.
Yeah, please don't message them to me. I like for them to be a surprise.
I think the Lacey bra got you tonight.
It did. I wasn't ready for that. No, I wasn't ready. I guess I should explain my title for the night. For those of you curious about, because I always come up with some goofy title. The title tonight is Jeff, Where Is Everyone, West? Is because when I sent the thing out to everyone about the call tonight, I put the wrong time. I still showed up at the right time. It's on my calendar. I know what to do. I just typed it wrong. And I was teasing Lisa. I said, well, I wondered where everybody was.
Well, and of course I wrote in the comments, hey, bucko. You need to get ready and stay ready, Mr. West. That's what Peg said. There you go.
I can't. No. I don't want to be ready for some of this. But Peg, I love you and I understand what you're saying, but you got to admit it's more entertaining when she catches me off guard.
you, right? Okay.
All right, everybody. We love you guys. See you next week.
Love you guys. See you next week. And we are out. Okay, here we go.
I'll sing a song.